10 years. 10 years of movies, heroes, stories, and world building has all been leading to this. In 2018, the Marvel Cinematic Universe would debut one of its largest and grand scale of superhero movies ever seen on the big screen that I myself wouldn't believe that would be impossible. But thankfully, in April 2018, the Marvel Universe was changed forever with the release of this massively crossover movie that achieved great heights and would pretty much change the entire cinematic universe forever. What's going on, everybody? My name is Nate, and on this special 40th episode of The Road to Avengers Doomsday, we're taking a look at Avengers Infinity War, a movie that brought together nearly every corner of the MCU and changed the superhero genre forever. As we watch our favorite characters interact with different others, and there's so many great moments and fantastic stuff to explain, so I'm really excited to break down this in this video. So without further ado, let's get started. But before Infinity War was ever in the minds of everyone, people were wondering, how do you balance so much characters in one movie? The Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and even other side heroes like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and all that jazz. It sounded pretty much impossible, especially for how much of a large scale of this movie is. But thankfully, directors Anthony and Joe Russo, aka the Russo Bros, somehow made it work. After so many years of teasing, the MCU has unleashed its biggest and dangerous threat of them all, Thanos, who is played brilliantly by Josh Brolin. And honestly, he's one of the greatest villains Marvel's ever created. Thanos isn't just a typical evil conqueror. In his mind, he believes he's saving the universe. That belief makes him terrifying, because he's calm, focused, and completely committed to his mission. And you know what it is? Find these 6 Infinity Stones and snap half the universe, believing it will achieve greatness. But in the eyes of the heroes, it's the opposite. So for many years now, the MCU has been building towards the Infinity Stones. And even in the previous Marvel movies, we've been seeing the stones in action, like using it for this and that. And now it's all coming together. Thanos travels the Marvel Universe to search for the Infinity Stones themselves. And I'm going to break down each stone by showing you right now. First up is the Space Stone, which grants dominion over space. This user can teleport themselves and objects and armies, and it's pretty intense, and it's a pretty powerful stone. This is the Mind Stone, which is a yellow thing, and it basically controls everyone's minds, something Vision has in his head there. Pretty intense. Then there's the Reality Stone, which basically allows the user to fabric reality and matter in a fundamental scale. It can also rewrite laws of physics, change objects, and all things. The most brutal one is the Power Stone. It embodies the raw, destructive energy of the universe. It grants the wielder immense physical strength and pretty powerful with Infinity Stone. And then there's the Time Stone, which grants the mastery of changing the flow of time, something Doctor Strange has in his Eye of Agamotto necklace. Pretty cool indeed. And lastly is the Soul Stone. It grants life over in death, and it can manipulate, extract, or trap souls of living beings. It's a pretty dark thing, and I'll explain later what Thanos had to do to get this stone. It's pretty intense. And with Thanos getting those stones, it is really at a dangerous level. And I can imagine what the writers were committed when they were doing this movie. So one of the best parts of Avengers Infinity War is seeing how the characters really interact. Iron Man meeting Doctor Strange, the Guardians of the Galaxy meeting Thor, and Spider-Man fighting alongside the heroes. It feels like an eternal award for Marvel fans who followed the MCU for years, and somehow this movie keeps moving at an incredible pace. Another standout for performances in the movie is Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, and he went through a whole lot of stuff beforehand. He lost his father, his hammer, his home, and his brother Loki. Thor is driven by grief and revenge. And he embarks on a journey to create the Stormbreaker, which is like an axe kind of weapon. And he uses that in pretty cool ways. And his arrival in Wakanda, still one of the coolest entrances in the MCU. And you gotta appreciate the amount of talent that these actors can do. Another emotional core moment of the movie is Gamora, who's with returning actress Zoe Saldana. Though her relationship with Thanos, we see more of a personal side of the villain. And the Soul Stone sequence is changing everything. It proves that Thanos is willing to sacrifice anything to complete his goal, even unaliving his own adopted daughter to get the Soul Stone. Pretty dark and brutal, in my opinion. And let me tell you, the scale of Infinity War is unbelievable. The massive battles, the cosmic location, and emotional confrontations that the actors and characters have. Yet somehow, the film never loses focus. Every character has a purpose, every storyline matters, and the tension keeps building all the way to the end. And then at the near end of the movie, nobody expected Marvel to actually do. Thanos wins. And with the snap of his fingers like this, half of life disappears before our very eyes. Beloved heroes and people we knew in the MCU just vanish. And audiences now in the world were shocked, especially me. When I saw that movie for the first time, I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I just watch? And these moments are just really terrifying. Like Spider-Man fading away in Tony's arms, Black Panther disappearing in Wakanda, and the silence after the snap. It's just like the whole world went dark. And it does not feel like a normal superhero ending. It was extremely devastating and really shocking and works well in my opinion. So what makes Avengers Infinity War so special, it took huge risks. The movie trusts its audience, it doesn't slow down to explain everything. It rewards years of investment, and somehow it makes one giant interconnected universe feel meaningful. So when Infinity War was released in April of 2018, it became a cultural phenomenon. Fans packed theaters, the internet exploded with reactions, and the film proved something important. The MCU wasn't just successful, it became a global storytelling event. And in conclusion, Avengers Infinity War wasn't just a crossover. It was a payoff of a decade of storytelling. A film with spectacle, emotion, and unforgettable moments. And on the road to Avengers Doomsday, this is where everything changed. If you enjoyed this episode of Neat Reviews, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, and let me know down below. Where were you when you first saw the snap happen in your perspective? And I'll see you in the next part as I continue on this road to Avengers Doomsday. Peace out and have a good day.